The Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Your home for uncensored sports betting opinions, analysis, and advice.
You can also bring him Bauer if you want.
For all the games. Now,
perfect.
Take the Points on Fox Sports 910 and the iHeartRadio app.
It is Saturday, the end of the week. Officially made it. Take the Points, the only sports betting show in Arizona. Hello, everybody. I'm Jackson Groff, live from the CAZ Sports Bar. And this is the first time that I'm doing the show by myself, but this might be the first time that my co-host will be available for the first segment in a different location. Mike Bauer, are you there, good sir?
This is called a simulcast, Jackson. This is a simulcast. We're blanketing the Valley of the Sun, man.
This is so crazy because I feel your presence, but I can't see you right now. But we will get through all the opening line. But coming up on today's show, we got some great guests. Obviously, you know, Mike Bauer in the first segment. We got Alex Clancy from Locked On AZ Cardinals coming in at 11:15. Jeff Hudzow, a chance to beat at 11:45. Coming in the second hour, we talk Suns with Gerald Bourguet at 12:15. And then we wrap it up with Marco D'Angelo, who's not only a good sports bettor when it comes to football, but the number one handicapper in hoops when it comes to wager talk, which, Bauer, I don't know about you.
Wait, Jackson, hold on. What's his name?
His name is I can't say it. Yeah, I can't I got to keep the lungs energized until
Marco.
There you go.
How did I do? All right, there we go.
Pretty good. You didn't.
Listeners of the Marco's Normal segment know what's up.
Exactly.
If you know, you know.
100%. We got football to talk about with the Arizona Cardinals, college basketball. We have All-Star Weekend comes on tonight. Bauer, are you going to be watching All-Star Weekend?
Nope.
Okay, well, I'll be watching All-Star Weekend.
I have no interest.
I'm a big fan of the slam dunk contest personally. 3-point contest. Hopefully, the
slam dunk contest jumped the shark like 15 years ago, man. Whenever Birdman Chris Anderson ruined the slam dunk contest, it's lost a lot of luster. Plus, I don't even know who's in it this year. There's 4 names. We're making picks for the dunk contest, and I looked at it, I'm like, I don't even know the players. One of them I thought was a joke because Grosser, is like, yeah, I'll take Kenyon Martin. And I'm like, I thought you're making a joke. No, apparently his kid is in the dunk contest. Whatever.
Mac McClung is the name that a lot of people my age are familiar with. This kid. Who's
that?
Ryan Sirk knows who he is. We all know he's around my age. He's the guy to look out for. But we'll talk more about All-Star Weekend at 11.
Does he play in the NBA, or is he just like a slam ball contestant that's jumping out? Like, what? Who is this person?
So he was in the G. So he was an undrafted free agent for the Lakers. Got cut for the Lakers. Went overseas. Came back. He's in the G League. He signed a 10-day contract with the Sixers. Well, that 10-day goes through All-Star Weekend, so he gets to wrap a Sixers jersey instead of a G League jersey. That is Mac McClung.
And apparently he can dunk. That's a prerequisite for this.
He's got hops. He's around my height, but he's got hops. We'll get into that.
So what you're saying is he might not be good at basketball, but he can dunk.
Correct. That's all that matters. That's all we want to see tonight at the slam dunk contest. I know, Bauer, you just closed out the Backspin the Golf Show. The Genesis Invitational is kicking off here soon. Before the round started, Rahm favorite at plus 240. Updated odds, Homa 300, Morikawa 600, Rory 800, Scotty Scheffler 2600. But hey, Tiger made the cut. Real briefly, Bauer, kind of talk to us about what you're looking forward to about this Invitational today and tomorrow.
Well, I mean, look, in terms of gambling, and I'd venture to say you'd be a fool if you put money on Tiger Woods right now, but that's the story. Like Tiger Woods he's a celestial body that has a gravitational pull, right? Yep. So it's almost unfair to the WM Phoenix Open. Scotty Scheffler, he wins back-to-back. His first ever title defense, his first ever PGA Tour victory was a year ago in the Waste Management Phoenix Open, and now it's the WM Phoenix Open. He wins, and not only does he go back-to-back for the first time in his so far incredible career, but he also ascends to number 1 in the world again, and guess what? Nobody's talking about it. Nobody is talking about it because everybody is looking at what Eldrick is doing. He's teeing off today at 11:12, so about 6 minutes from now. Tiger tees off. And if you're Christian Bezuidenhout, and you're Matthias Schwab, you're paired up with Tiger, good luck shooting a low number because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pressure for those guys playing with Tiger. But that's the story. Tiger's +1. He makes the cut on the number. So he essentially got lucky, probably was packing up his things, slammed his trunk, trunk slammers as we call him. But he's at +75,000 right now at the live PGAtour.com leaderboard.
You could put like $1 on it or $5.
You could, if you don't want to see that dollar again, then sure, you could do that. But look, that's going to be the story. The weekend, it's great news for the network. Now you've got monster ratings coming through because all cameras are going to be on Tiger. But really, look, the story here is Max Homa's atop the leaderboard. He won this a couple years ago. He's a SoCal guy, loves playing at Riviera. John Rahm, the Sun Devil, and arguably the hottest golfer on the planet, maybe not named Scotty Scheffler, but as of recently, probably even hotter player with a couple wins this year. Max Homa's atop the leaderboard at 10 under. Mitchell, Rahm, and Hodges are at 9 under. Like, that's the story in terms of the great golf that we're looking at. These guys have already got a couple wins this PGA Tour season. There's some other great players atop the leaderboard. Patrick Cantlay, Rory are right there. So it's a mix. Hey, if you wanted to put down some money on, on somebody maybe outside the top 10 who plays this course really well, Scotty Scheffler might be that guy, right? Scotty Scheffler, he's at T16 right now.
Plus 2,600 was the odds before today's round. Tiger making the top 10 at plus 3,200. He did indeed make the cut today, but a guy that I'm looking specifically for, because I feel like we always put so much pressure on John Rahm. He's always at the top of the leaderboards, but I feel like the third and fourth round is when he tends to struggle when the pressure comes his way. Can he maintain where he's at right now, one stroke behind Homa? And then Tiger Woods, can his putting be dialed in? Yesterday, putting was a big issue for him.
Yeah.
But real quickly, Bauer, let's dive in Cardinals. We got Alex Clancy joining us at 11:15. Right now, the Cardinals plus 28,000 to win the Super Bowl, and we understand, folks, they're not going to win the Super Bowl next year, but you never know. Hey, we've seen weirder things happen in the NFL. Gannon gets hired on Tuesday. His presser's on Thursday. Just your initial thoughts on the Gannon hiring and what this organization needs to do next, because the Combine's in 11 days. Do you wait? Do you take your time hiring the staff, or do you have to establish your staff early because there's Combine interviews coming up here soon?
You hire your staff. I mean, that's what that's what you need to do is you need to go out and hire your staff. Who's gonna stay over? Who's gonna still be part of the staff? Who's sticking around? This is between the general manager and the coach. These guys had already they've got a history together, so they'll be part of this. Look, the assistant coaches are very important. And that's the reason why you look at somebody like Sean Payton. When you hired Sean Payton, you knew he was going to bring some great assistant coaches, and you're going to have, an all-star assistant coaching staff. Heck, look what the Washington Commanders just did, an offensive coordinator, hiring Eric Bieniemy. A lot of Cardinals fans wanted to see him as the head coach here, and he's now the offensive coordinator just outside the nation's capital there. So
I don't get that move, but all right, Bieniemy, do whatever you got to do, I guess.
But when you take a look at the Cardinals, they, once again, in the coaching cycle, make the last coaching hire. It worked out years ago with Bruce Arians. This is a different situation. It was nice to see Jonathan Gannon be really excited to drop his bags in front of the camera and go run around the corner and go say hi to Kyler Murray, who, was working out in the weight room there at the time. And, that was nice for social media. But look, Kyler Murray and Jonathan Gannon, they're going to be tied together. Kyler Murray is, according to the coach, an elite quarterback. In my mind, he still has to prove he's an elite quarterback. And guess what? This is a guy rehabbing an injury. So you're right. Look, hire the coaches. You've got the number, you've got a great pick in the draft. You're sitting up there right now. You're sitting there, at number what? Number three. You're sitting there at number 3. Do you move back? Do you pick up some extra picks? Jackson, just randomly, you mentioned Cardinals probably not winning the Super Bowl this year. No surprise, but what's more likely? The Cardinals have the number 1 pick next year, or the Cardinals make the playoffs?
I would honestly lean towards the playoffs. I think when you look at the NFC side, the NFC is not as deep as the AFC. And when you got teams like the Giants, how did they respond after last year? You got the Saints. You've got a lot of these questionable teams in these divisions that I think the Cardinals could sneak up on and maybe slip in at 7. When I was researching Alex Clancy last night, he made a good point saying next year, if you told me that this upcoming season for the Arizona Cardinals is a team like the Lions were when they were 9-8, they missed out on the playoffs, but you saw every single week they played with passion and effort, and you felt way more confident at that last game than you did earlier in the season about the Lions, I would take that in a heartbeat. I want to see a team with passion, and I think something that I took away from Gannon's presser is that he's a leader, and he's going to come in there and change the culture, and that's the biggest issue of this Arizona Cardinals team that you've seen recently. Another interesting comment is if he's going to call the defensive plays or not. I know people were kind of bummed and irritated that Gannon was hired after what happened with the Super Bowl. Obviously, Andy Reid, Bieniemy is a tough combo to play against, the bright lights under the Super Bowl, but we'll see if he comes in being the leader that we see him as from the presser conference. But something also to put a point there and a cap on this Gannon hiring, could that defensive hiring help Kyler Murray even more than what fans expected? Could a defensive-minded head coach that has schemed against him give him a better perspective and maybe open up some windows, maybe open up some knowledge, insight that maybe an offensive coach couldn't have given him? It's a different perspective.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a different perspective. You're talking about Cliff Kingsbury, a guy who lost his job at Texas Tech, a guy who didn't even really coach at USC and then got hired after losing his job and not coaching at USC, now to lead an NFL team because he and Kyler went back, and that was the guy that they were going to draft. And look, I talked with a friend of mine who's worked in the Philadelphia media for a long time, covers the Eagles, is on the sidelines every game, and he said, hey, look, the Eagles just made too many mistakes. That's why they didn't win the game. Jonathan Gannon is a very, very good coach, he tells me. He said, look, it comes down to the quarterback. And, again, my friend who is a legend in Philly media says that's a question that comes down to the quarterback. He says he's not a Kyler fan. Seems like he's too much about himself. The reality is you need a quarterback to play well, but Jonathan Gannon is a good coach and a very personable guy as well. So, Jackson, here's one name to me that ends up being a home run hire if the Cardinals can make it happen before the Broncos do. If Mike Zimmer is on the staff, the former coach of the Vikings, you talk about holding players accountable. Mike Zimmer is a hard ass. Mike Zimmer does not put up with any bleep in the locker room from his guys. A former NFL head coach that has another defensive mind. There are rumors out there. Howard Balzer, PHNX Sports, puts it out there that Nick Rallis, Mike Zimmer could have spots on Jonathan Gannon's defensive staff. You're talking about, look, Nick Rallis, 5 years as an assistant with the Vikings, 2 as the linebackers coach. He could be a defensive coordinator or an assistant. He's going to turn 30 this year. Mike Zimmer, he's in his late 60s. He turned 67 this year. So if you could bring in some combo there where you bring in a former head coach and a great defensive mind in Mike Zimmer, that's a home run hire for the Cardinals if they can make that happen.
100% agree, Mike Zimmer. And I love the fact of Gannon, kind of being that Andy Reid. Andy Reid's the head coach, looks over the offensive plays, but he's the head coach first and foremost. Appreciate you coming on this first segment, Mike Bauer. We are about to head to a break.
Yeah, I got to go to Chase Field. I got FanFest, buddy. See you later.
Coming up next is the animated, energized host of the Locked On Cardinals podcast, Alex Clancy, gives his thoughts about the Arizona Cardinals 2.0. You won't want to miss it. That's next on Take the Points, live from the CAZ Sports Bar on Fox Sports 910.
Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook.
So you want me to play
Casino, Arizona,
this audio after I play the rejoin or instead of the rejoin?
iHeartRadio app. 6-time Pro Bowl quarterback Donovan McNabb joins Jody Ayler every week on The Drive to talk the big.
All right, cool. I like that.
NFL. Tuesday at 8:33 on Fox Sports 910. Brought to you by Draft Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL.
Any car dealer in Arizona can compete on price. That's what dealers do.
I mean, on the, there's no set time for this, but
make the right choice. Right Toyota in Scottsdale.
But it says at the 28-minute mark, so you can go to like 30, make it a good time.
I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. Over the years, Lerner Rowe has helped over 100.
We got on at like 11:02,
millions of dollars for the
and
country.
we have to be out of here by.
Millions of dollars to Arizona charity.
Let me check.
Our goal is not only to make a positive impact on our clients' lives, but also the lives of many Arizona residents.
So as long as you get all 3 commercial breaks in before
dedicated to make Arizona
9:56, you will be good.
Call 977-1900.
A homeowner just like you.
Hey.
Decides
We got 3 minutes.
Okay.
he backs up.
So you can make it a 10-minute segment.
Ties one end of the rope to the bumper and the other to himself.
Yeah, sounds good.
He's working on the backside of the roof until.
What? Wait, no.
Yes, Dad was in tow.
Ooh, was he hurt?
A few bruises and his pride.
Save yourself with State 48 Roofing, offering maintenance, repairs, and replacements. Of course, licensed, insured, and bonded. From residential to commercial.
And then the last question is, you want me to start the interview at the 15-second
Thursday
mark?
through Sunday at Van's Golf Shops for the tailor-made launch event. Get fit for the new Stealth 2 Woods, which combines speed and forgiveness to unlock forgiveness. Try the new Stealth HD irons that deliver high launch with draw bias to give you the confidence to expect better shots more often. Go to worldwidegolfshops.com and reserve your free custom fitting experience happening this Thursday through Sunday. Van's Golf Shops. Unmatched expertise, unmatched service.
We got Clancy.
Get ready for the nothing but net action of college basketball on AZTV Channel 7. Every Monday and Saturday, we take you courtside for both men's and women's college hoops. AZTV Channel 7. Check out the
Minute and a half.
AZTV.com.
Where will your new Chevy take you this year? Anywhere. It's the perfect time of year to take your next adventure off-road in a powerful Chevy Silverado. Round up the whole gang for some family fun in a Chevy Equinox. Hey kids, let's go. Or take your night on the town by storm in a stylish Chevy Blazer. Make more memories and take on the road ahead. Wherever it leads you. Find new experiences, find new roads. See your Valley Chevy dealers.
I thought learning a language would be too much work, but Babbel makes learning fun. J'aime Babbel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes, and soon you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
Babbel isn't robots talking. You learn words.
So I'll go grab a headset after this break, just in case you need me.
Conversations in just a few weeks. So easy. Go to Babbel.
I'm sure it can be tough running the show just by yourself and nobody to talk to.
Babbel.com.
Using your phone should never have to be a luxury. Walmart Family Mobile now offers free or discounted plans through the
that's tough
program. ACP is a government program that helps eligible Americans have access to wireless service. You could get unlimited talk, text, and 8 gigabytes
that makes sense.
data for free when you qualify.
Here's the rejoin coming up, and then I'll play the interview.
Walmart Family Mobile is supported by the Affordable Connectivity Program and Lifeline Government Assistance Programs. Please visit myfamilymobile.com/ACP for more information.
All right, here we go.
Some of this stuff off right now as we talk before we get to questions and things like that, but just know this. We're going to be very adaptable. I'm talking the Arizona Cardinals. This is what our team's going to be. We're going to be adaptable. We're going to be violent. We're going to be explosive, and we're going to be smart. And all 3 phases go into that. And we will maximize the talents of the players that we have, and that's how we're going to win games.
You're live.
And don't get it twisted. We're going to win games.
Adaptability, the ability and willingness to change in order to suit different conditions. Well, joining us now is someone that's going to have to adapt to a new era of Arizona Cardinals football, the host of the Locked On AZ Cardinals. You can find him at Clancy's Corner. Alex Clancy, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on, and how are you adapting today?
What's up? Yeah, thanks for having me. I mean, it's a beautiful day here in Arizona after hearing that press conference, I'll tell you.
Oh, 100%. It's been a long first phase for the Cardinals organization, through the first month and a half. What is your biggest takeaway that you've seen through the hiring of the GM, hiring of the head coach, who they've let go in this first phase as the Cardinals transition into phase 2 here coming up?
Michael Bidwell has done everything he said he was going to do when he said changes needed to be made. And that's something that was refreshing. It was kind of unsettling. Like, is he going to make the right choice? Is he going to hire from within, even though he said he wouldn't? Things like that. How wide is the net that he cast? And what he did was he found two guys, both of whom have deep scouting backgrounds, in an effort to put together and usher in a completely different look for the Arizona Cardinals, and he did it. Just because it took a while, it seemed like Jonathan Gannon was Monty Ossenfort's guy early on, so it makes sense to why they'd have to wait until after the Super Bowl to interview the guy that they ended up hiring.
How big is that for you? You've been covering the NFL for a long time. When the GM is familiar with the head coach that he is working with, that GM head coach relationship we've seen in some of these great organizations, how big is that for this Cardinals team? Because as of recent, I feel like it's always been GM on one side, head coach, but these two seem to be meshing well early.
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't know how tight they are, but I'll tell you this, that I'd much rather have the cohesion there than just between the owner and the general manager, and everything else kind of falls as it may, with Steve Keim having made all the decisions, whether it be better or worse. But yeah, I mean, the big thing here is, in my humblest of opinions, regardless of who they hired, it would have been a step up from where we were watching this team, and that's where we are.
Gannon mentioned in the press conference, how he doesn't have a scheme, but he has an ability to adapt. We keep using the word adapt to the roster skill sets and strengths. And most of us, including myself, I thought an offensive coach, James Conner said it, would be a better fit for this Arizona Cardinals team. But I was watching your latest podcast, and you opened up about how Gannon can open up this defensive depth that is a lot deeper than what people think. Who on the defensive side of the ball are you most eager to see Gannon unlock their peak potential?
Isaiah Simmons. And it's been Isaiah Simmons for the last 3 years. We've seen Hassan Reddick. I've said for the last couple of years, Isaiah Simmons cannot become the next cautionary tale alongside Hassan Reddick, because Hassan Reddick could fit in Isaiah Simmons' proverbial pocket with how big he is, how strong he is, how fast he is, how smart he is. Like, if they can unlock Isaiah Simmons and his full potential, whether it be at slot corner, moving him out to edge rusher, or whatever in between, that would be a huge, huge catalyst for the Cardinals defense moving forward, for sure.
Do you see Isaiah Simmons being that Hassan Reddick fill, I guess, being that edge rusher? Because we've seen him all over the place, but edge rusher we haven't really seen. But we didn't see that much with the Hassan Reddick in his last season. They put him at edge rusher, and then he was one of the best sack leaders of that season.
Yeah, it's I kind of equate Isaiah Simmons to Kyler Murray a little bit too, in the respect that they've kind of been, just like with Isaiah Simmons, he's been more jazz, and you need more waltz, you need more structure, you need more. This is your job, and not you're going to be filling in when there's injuries. You're going to be doing this. You're going to be doing this. Isaiah Simmons, I don't know where it should be. I mean, edge rusher doesn't necessarily fit his exact skill set, but what they've been doing up until this point has been restricting him from being able to be the full player that he is. So wherever Jonathan Gannon figures out, because you're right, with the scheme thing, it was interesting. When he said, I don't really have a scheme, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean, coach? But what he said was like, he's going to put players at the best position to succeed based upon not only their skill set, but also the opposing offenses they're defending against. And Isaiah Simmons is kind of an amoeba in that way, but they need to figure out one or two roles for him to play and just strengthen his skill set on that, evolve him as a talent, and just let him flourish.
Alex Clancy, Locked On AZ Cardinals host, joins us right now to talk Cardinals. And the other elephant in the room I want your opinion on is DeAndre Hopkins. We've heard up and down. I've been indifferent about whether the Cardinals should trade him or not. He's met with Ossenfort in the past. I'm assuming he's going to meet with Gannon here shortly. Where do you see, and what is your opinion? Do you think the Cardinals should still trade him? And if so, what's an acceptable offer for a 30-year-old wide receiver, but a dominant wide receiver in DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah, it's a good question. And the wrench in this is Kyler Murray's injury. Like, if Kyler Murray wasn't hurt and he was running it back training camp week 1, so there's no way in, anything that you need to trade DeAndre Hopkins. And I still think that. I mean, if they can figure out some sort of restructure where he gets some guaranteed cheese and they're able to keep him for the next 3 or 4 years, the beauty of DeAndre Hopkins is he's never had to rely on his speed to be successful. So with that, he can be elite like I still think he is. When he's on the field, I still think he's a top 5, top 7 receiver. Just because you're not the fastest, he's never been the fastest. His skill set is he catches everything. His catch radius is wild. His hands are huge. He's got the best hands in football, and he'll fit into any scheme. You just need to be able to put him in a position to succeed. So with that, because people think that he's going to be traded, I don't think he should. But if they do trade him, it's got to be one of two things. It's got to go to a contender for a first-round pick, or if it's a bad team, a good team's first-round pick or a bad team's second-round pick. You can't trade DeAndre Hopkins to Kansas City for a second-round pick that's going to be in the low 50s. It's got to be in the high 20s or low 30s because that's what he's worth. Ask your friends, all of the friends for different teams that they're fans of, if they take DeAndre Hopkins, every single person would raise their hand and say how much. And that should be enough for the Cardinals to see how much worth he still has around the league.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree with you 100% on that because for me, when you look at the draft, guys that could maybe fill in his shoes, a Quentin Johnson, but I think he's going to be drafted too high. And then this free agency market for receivers, I think is a huge fall off. Hopefully they can restructure something there. But I got to ask you, obviously, coach, GM, check mark. The NFL Combine is 10 days away. Cardinals hold the 3 pick. Now, I'm not going to ask for your take or your opinion because for those out there who want to know, go to Locked On Cardinals to figure out what his opinion is. I don't want to spoil that because I know you guys got a lot of content coming your way. But who are some guys that you'll keep an eye on during the Combine weekend as we approach here shortly?
It's depending on if they are there is Jalen Carter and Will Anderson. I mean, I've gone back and forth multiple times where it's set and forget, keep it simple, and move on. Have one transcendent talent for the next, hopefully, 10 years on this roster. Don't get cute with trading back to 12th pick and getting picks for the future. All you need to do to revamp a roster is one solid draft and one solid offseason to go from the doldrums, where their odds are, I think, second to last or last to win the Super Bowl in 2023, up to the middle of the pack in the second year. You don't need to get cute. You don't need to accumulate picks when there's a potential transcendent defensive lineman or edge rusher at 3 where they sit currently.
Last question for you. Appreciate you coming on as always. Fill in the blank here. This upcoming season for the Arizona Cardinals is a success if they do blank.
Fix the culture. Win-loss doesn't matter this year, especially if Kyler Murray's out for a handful of games. Think of Dan Campbell in Detroit. They've never looked at win-loss record. You see a culture shift in Detroit because of Dan Campbell and what he's ushered in. That's what the Arizona Cardinals need more than a playoff run, a magical playoff run in a weird year like 2023.
He's one of the best to do it. Alex Clancy at Clancy's Corner. Thanks so much for coming on. Love talking Cardinals with you, and we hope to have you on here another time shortly.
You got it, man. Thanks for having me.
Awesome stuff there from Alex. Well, we're here at the CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, and it is by far your best place to watch a game. There are countless screens everywhere you look. They deliver a delicious menu of fan favorite food, 2 projection screens, a huge video wall, and a sports book with kiosk and people that you can go to place your bets 24/7. More sports, better food, all your favorite drinks. You don't want to miss it here at the CAZ Sports Bar. Well, coming up, we're going to talk hoops. We got NBA All-Star Weekend. We got NCAA Tournament coming up here shortly. We'll talk college basketball. We'll talk NBA as well. All of this and more coming up next on Take the Points on Fox Sports 910.
Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, continues.
And for the next intro, just start from the beginning.
910 and the free iHeartRadio app.
Right Toyota, the #1 volume
that one,
in the state of Arizona, ensures you a buying experience that will exceed all your expectations. Check it out for yourself.
I watched a little bit of it yesterday, and I'll probably watch today's.
RightToyota.com. I'm attorney Kevin Rowe, and we've done it again. For the 7th year in a row, Lerner Rowe has been voted best personal injury law firm.
So do you want the entire clip, all 26 seconds?
10 voters voted for Lerner & Rowe. That's right. We
Sounds good.
90% of the votes. Why are we so popular? Probably because our offices have recovered billions of dollars for our clients, recovering millions of dollars every week in Arizona. When you're looking for the best personal injury law firm in Arizona, look no further than Lerner & Rowe.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
Shopping for a mortgage? Big bangs can be a big hassle. Call GC Global Capital and work with a local team of mortgage experts.
All right, I'll be right back.
Rates and lower fees, more options and faster closings. Don't let your dream home purchase turn into a nightmare. Call the professionals at GC Global Capital, 480-397-9300. GC Global Capital, your local mortgage professionals. GC Global Capital is an Arizona licensed mortgage broker. NMLS 1091187. License MB 0924983. An equal opportunity lender.
Jenny!
Hey, Jenny!
Jenny, come on in! Steve!
Hey, Steve!
Steve, how you doing?
Meg!
Meg, nice to see you! Hey, Meg!
Arena Sports Grill. Come on out for the sports, off-track betting, incredible food, and friendly faces. The best daily specials in Scottsdale. Arena Sports Grill, 62nd Street in Bell. We know you.
It's Jason Payne, owner of State 48 Roofing and your sexy status roof guy on Instagram and Facebook. Lesser roofers cut corners, coupling together patchwork roofs to meet a budget, not State 48 Roofing. Give us a call today for your maintenance, repair, or full replacement needs.
Where will your new Chevy take you this year? Anywhere. It's the perfect time of year to take your next adventure off-road in a powerful Chevy Silverado. Round up the whole gang for some family fun in a Chevy Equinox.
Hey kids, let's go. 45 seconds.
Take your night on the town by storm in a stylish Chevy Blazer. Make more memories and take on the road ahead, wherever it leads you. Find new experiences, find new roads. See your Valley Chevy dealers.
Hey, it's Nate Burleson. Check out my new podcast, The Process with Nate Burleson. It debuts with my first guest, Rihanna. Her interview was just a taste of the heat we will bring you here on The Process. I'll talk to A-list celebrities, athletes, and visionaries about their process. What steps did they take to achieve greatness? New episodes of The Process with Nate Burleson.
Here we go.
Drop all year long on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you find your podcasts.
Yeah, I'd heard the rumors about it. I appreciate them including me. I'm super excited. And yeah, it was a surprise for sure. My agent called me and I was like, well, let's do it. Let's make the most of it.
And what is a good dunk for you?
What is a good dunk? Hopefully a 10. Hopefully I'll make it. You know, that's the biggest thing, trying to make the dunks. But
What do you prefer, like power or creativity, or what way would you go?
I would say it's got to be a mixture of both. But I think my biggest thing on this dunk contest is creativity.
You're right.
Yeah, I'd heard the rumors about it. I appreciate them including me.
Mac McClung on the dunk contest tonight, making his debut. The high-flying guy out of, I believe he was at Memphis, is Mac McClung. And let me tell you, folks, the slam dunk contest is tonight. And for those out there who might not care about it, I do indeed care about the slam dunk contest. Listen, the NBA All-Star Weekend is a weekend to celebrate these great players and what they've done through the first 60 games. We got the All-Star game tomorrow and how they reconstructed it towards Kobe Bryant's charity. And it's more competitive. But this All-Star Weekend tonight all starts with the three-point contest. And we look at it, the favorite in the clubhouse, which you can bet here at the CAZ Sports Bar for those wanting to bet on the three-point contest. Buddy Hield, he won the three-point contest in 2020. Him and Damian Lillard are the favorites at plus 400, followed by Jason Tatum at plus 500. Kevin Huerter, the stud shooter from the Kings, traded from the Hawks at plus 550. Lauri Markkanen, they got to have a Utah Jazz player in there somewhere. He's kind of a bigger guy, plus 600. Tyler Hero, Tyrese Halliburton at plus 600, and then Julius Randle at plus 800. So you're probably wondering, why is Julius Randle in this? Why is a big guy in this? Well, he's actually 8th in the league when it comes to 3 points made percentage. And he's a big guy. Last year, when you talk about people that were big characters, big players in this contest, Karl Anthony Towns shocked the world and was at plus 1,200 last year, won over guys like McCollum, Trae Young, Levine, and so much more. So expect the unexpected here. Tonight, All-Star Weekend kicks off at 6 p.m. And then the slam dunk contest. You got 4 guys that not a lot of people are familiar with. Mac McClung, if those who are my age are on 23 years old, he's a guy that everyone's been familiar with his dunks. He was in the Ball is Life slam dunk contest, a bunch in high school. And he's currently on a 10-day contract with the 76ers, so he'll be repping the Sixers. When they got him for this draft, he was a G League player, so it's cool that he gets to rep at least an NBA team for a little bit. Then you got Kenyon Martin Jr. at plus 250. Obviously, the son of Kenyon Martin, he plays for the Rockets. Jericho Sims, more big type center, power forward at plus 400. And then Trey Murphy III at plus 450. Now, these are guys right now that aren't familiar with, but 7 years ago when Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine gave us our best slam dunk contest in 2016, you weren't familiar with either. Those two are now, Aaron Gordon being an all-star this year. Zach LaVine was an all-star last year and the year prior. So they're not known right now, but we need a memorable dunk contest for tonight for the brand of All-Star Weekend. You've seen the Pro Bowl still mixing around things with the Pro Bowl games, trying to figure out their ish to get people invited, excited, players that want to play in these events, because it's what makes the environment better. That's why fans go to these events, is to see the effort from these players. The All-Star game is becoming like that, but we need the slam dunk contest, three-point contest, and the skills challenge to do the same thing here tonight. And then for the game, it's funny how Vegas already has the odds for this game, which I find funny because, folks, who you don't know out there, Team LeBron versus Team Giannis, they'll pick their teams 30 minutes before tip-off. Usually they pick it a week ahead of time. They'll have practice, but this time they get to pick it 30 minutes ahead of time. So how are the odds? I don't get it. Maybe it's based on the brand or maybe past history with Team LeBron winning last year. Team LeBron is a 3-point favorites. Giannis, you can get at plus 126. The over-under of this, ridiculous, folks. 324.5. That's a lot of points being scored for the All-Star game. We look at the college basketball games going on right now. Notre Dame, unranked Notre Dame against 7 Virginia. Virginia was favored by 12.5 points. The current score is 55-52. So right now, if you had Notre Dame at plus 12.5, you're sitting very well. Illinois up 3 against 14 Indiana. Indiana was a 5.5 point favorite there. And then a big shocker to me, at least, 10 Tennessee at Kentucky. Maybe it's the home of Kentucky. They're playing better. They're up 27-12. 4 minutes left in the first quarter. And I believe, I'm looking at the sheet right here, Tennessee was a 2-point favorite. Kentucky money line at plus 110. Later on in the slate as well, you got Iowa State, number 19 Iowa State playing 12 Kansas State. That tips off at 12. Oklahoma State playing TCU, 22 TCU at 12. And the big game that we'll talk to Marco later on about is 9 Baylor at 5 Kansas. The Big 12, I mentioned probably 6 Big 12 teams there, because that just tells you how strong this Big 12 team is. And today the NCAA tournament came out with the top 16 reveal. Currently, if the tournament was tomorrow, the top 16 seeds in the NCAA tournament this year. The 1 seeds include Alabama, Purdue, Houston, Kansas. These 4 have been the most dominant teams, I would say, consistent teams. And just a reminder for folks out there that are looking at these bets for futures who want to bet who the national championship is going to be, national champion. Here's a fun stat for you. When placing March Madness futures, 100% of the national champions since 2000 have had a top 40 offense and a top 22 defense. There's a lot of NCAA basketball teams out there. So there's only 6 teams that fit it right now. At plus 650, Houston, plus 850, Alabama, plus 1100, Kansas. See, I just named 3 of the 1 seeds in the top 16 reveal. You've got UConn, who's plus 3,000, could be an underdog team, plus 1,200 in UCLA, and then plus 2,500 in Creighton. So just something to look out for as you look to make those future bets later on. Speaking of the Pac-12, UCLA, Arizona, and the recent bracketology, those are the only 2 teams making the Pac-12 is what Joe Lenardi has. We'll see what this Pac-12 can do. You got teams like in the past with Oregon State. They were unranked. They were the bottom of the barrel in the Pac-12. They ended up winning the Pac-12 championship and making a run, obviously, in the tournament. So we'll keep an eye out for it. We'll talk more about basketball later on with Marco D'Angelo. But coming up next, best deal in town, AZ. This is for your chance to win a 75-inch 4K smart TV. You'll be drawn into it to win that if you beat Hudzow's Picks. And if you beat Hudzow's Picks, you will get a $50 gift card to Best Deal in Town AZ. And that's coming up next. Jeff Hudzow, we love having him on. He'll talk about his President's Day and Super Bowl deals coming up through on Monday. Some of these deals, folks, it's too good to be true. Let me tell you, I might even go down there myself. I might be, to be honest, Dad, if you're watching this, I might move out of your place here soon. And if I do, I need that other TV. He's got so many great deals when it comes to it. We'll have him on next. So this is Take the Points, Fox Sports 910.
Take the
All clear.
Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona continues next.
No, that was perfect timing. That was good.
Sports 910 and the free iHeartRadio.
Then this next one will be about 10 minutes, but this time I'll actually let you know.
And Rob Parker.
Patrick Mahomes is already the third best quarterback.
Let me time it out real quick.
If he retired tomorrow, in my view, Tom Brady's the GOAT, Joe Montana would be second, and Patrick Mahomes would be third.
With Chris Broussard and Rob Parker, Monday at 5 on Fox Sports 910.
Rock for RightToyota.com. At Right Toyota, they'd like you to get to know them. Their goal is to make buying your next vehicle the kind of experience that earns your recommendation to family and friends. They invite you to use all of their innovative web tools on RightToyota.com. So if you're looking for a new or pre-owned Toyota, head to their interactive website at RightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection, all at RightToyota.com.
So yeah, the break will be at 57:20. So once you hear the music, and I'll also tell you, once you hear the music, it'll be a minute. But then I'll also say, hey, a minute.
Try the new Stealth HD irons that deliver.
We have 3 more minutes, so at 46. So 10 minutes segment.
Go to worldwidegolfshops.com and reserve your free custom fitting experience happening this Thursday through Sunday. Vans Golf Shops, unmatched expertise, unmatched service.
Are you looking to get into the best shape of your life or looking to offer your son or daughter the best training in Arizona? Then listen up. Dan Minucci for the new Cocoa 5 Performance Center at Bell Bank Park in Mesa. The state-of-the-art Performance Center is a 25,000 square foot facility and is home to sports performance for teams, individuals, combine prep, and professional athletes. And now, the new home where I coach my quarterback. 80 yards of indoor turf and track along with an outside turf workout area, plus tons of squat and bench stations, along with world-class training equipment. And they have the best team of coaches in the Southwest led by Olympic gold medal winner Dan O'Brien. If you or your son or daughter are ready to take the next step by gaining more speed, agility, power, or flexibility, then you need to check out the Cocoa 5 Performance Center at Bell Bank Park. Sign up by calling 480-572-0647, and one of their team members will create an individualized program specific to your needs. That's 480-572-0647 or online at legacyperformanceaz.com. For limited time, if you mention me, Dan Minucci, they'll give you your first session on me. That's legacyperformanceaz.com.
Where will your new Chevy take you this year? Anywhere. It's the perfect time of year to take your next adventure off-road in a powerful Chevy Silverado. Round up the whole gang for some family fun in a Chevy Equinox. Hey kids, let's go. Or take your night on the town by storm in a stylish Chevy Blazer. Make more memories and take on the road ahead, wherever it leads you. Find new experiences, find new roads. See your Valley Chevy dealers.
The hugs, the joy, even the sleepless nights.
1 minute.
Whatever you get from parenthood, you always want to give your children everything. And the UNest app makes it easy to save for their future. The UNest app puts smart investing tools right in the palm of your hand. Plus, you'll grow your UNest account with every purchase you make from over 150 top brands like Disney Plus and DoorDash. Start building your child's financial future. Download
we got hoods up
from the App Store or Google Play. See terms and conditions at unest.co. That's UNEST.co.
Using your phone should never have to be a luxury. Walmart Family Mobile now offers free or discounted plans through the Affordable Connectivity Program. ACP is a government program that helps eligible Americans have access to wireless service. You could get unlimited talk, text, and 8 gigabytes of high-speed data for free when you qualify. Apply now at myfamilymobile.com/ACP. Walmart Family Mobile is supported by the Affordable Connectivity Program and Lifeline Government Assistance Programs. Please visit myfamilymobile.com/ACP for more information.
Back to Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, exclusively on
And
Fox Sports 910.
And with that, we bring on the man we bring on every single week to talk his hot takes, best bets of the best deal in town, AZ. Jeff Hoodzow joins us. And let me tell you guys, if you beat Jeff Hoodzow, you have a chance to enter to win a 75-inch 4K smart TV, and you win a $50 gift card to Best Deal in Town, AZ. Jeff, how are we doing today on this fine Saturday?
Gee, it's easy for you to say, Jackson. We're doing pretty good. We're watching a little golf. Max Homa teeing off at the Genesis. We're selling some TVs this morning. We're having a good time.
Whoa, big golf guy I see there. Okay, well, before we get into your picks, I know that I want to talk about the President's Day deal you guys have going on. You guys are so generous to keep those deals going from the Super Bowl. What kind of deals are we expecting from Best Town in AZ?
So we took all of our Super Bowl deals, the ones that haven't sold out, which there's been a few, and we decided to extend them all through this weekend. So this is your last chance. Super Bowl is one of our biggest weekends of the year for everything. And now we're extending it, and we added a bunch of new stuff as well. So all kinds of options. So whatever size you're looking for, we probably have a TV to fill it up.
Okay, so I might be moving out of my dad's place here shortly. So what would you say for a young 23-year-old? What TV would you recommend for me to purchase there at Best Deal in Town, AZ?
So this is the funny thing is I talk to everybody, and it takes me about 2 minutes, and I can usually get you the right TV. Okay. So we're still living at the parents. We're gonna go something bigger. I'd probably start you with like a 65-inch LG. We have 4K smart 65 LGs on special for $399 right now. And Jackson, because you're like a pretty cool dude, I'd probably get you a deal on a wall mount and some cables to go with it. Even though, you might have to call Dad up to have him come help you mount the TV, but we'll get you all taken care of with that.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I have no idea how to mount a TV. I never have, but with Jeff Hoodzow's help, I can for sure get it going. Well, let's get into the picks, Jeff. You had a good week last week being 2-2. Let's see how you rebound this week. We're going to talk college basketball, and we got some all-star weekend picks as well. So the first one, 9 Baylor at 5 Kansas. Kansas is 5-point favorite. The over-under at 148.5. Jeff, who are you leaning towards in this matchup?
I've watched a lot of Big 12 basketball this year, and I think one of the big things that I look at is these two teams have already played once with Baylor winning. So, give me Baylor again. I like to see what Baylor's wearing before I bet on Baylor. I'm a big color guy, big vibe guy, but give me Baylor.
So Kansas has only lost one game at home, but you think they're going to lose another game against Baylor is what you're saying here. Kansas, good home favorite team.
I've seen Kansas lose to a certain team from Tempe, Arizona at home too, so I'm not too worried about that.
Okay, all right. Well, speaking about Arizona, we're going to the other school across the pond. Bear down. Arizona, number 8 Arizona is at home against Colorado. They're favored by 12, over under at 148. Jeff, who are you leaning towards, Wildcats or the Buffs?
So I'm doing a little future scouting on Colorado because I'm going to be at the Perry High School playoff basketball game watching Cody Williams tonight, who's going to Colorado. And I would love it if Colorado had a chance, but I think U of A is too good. And despite the horrible end of the game for ASU on Thursday, I like U of A.
Cody Williams, Perry High School. I've been impressed with him as well recently. He will be going off to Colorado. His brother obviously plays with his brother, Jalen Williams, plays on OKC. I met him a couple times, know him personally. He's a good dude. Watch out for him for that Colorado team. But we got to transition, speaking of the NBA, to All-Star Weekend. Jeff, are you much of an All-Star Weekend kind of guy, or do you not really care? What is your opinion about All-Star Weekend Saturday night?
So I'm a little older than you are. So I'm 39, and back in my day, the slam dunk contest was the bee's knees, and I loved it every year. And I have the winners of every slam dunk contest. And I gotta be honest with you, if Anthony Simmons and Obi Toppin walked into my store right now, I would be like, I didn't realize you won a slam dunk contest. But I got a little trivia question for you, Jackson.
Okay, all right.
I've sold TVs to 2 winners of the NBA slam dunk contest. Name those two.
Okay, can I get is it like in the 2000s or is it way older?
One in the 2000s and one in the 90s.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Gosh, this is hard.
This is great radio.
Yeah, this is great radio. You know, I'm gonna aim for the stars.
Planned this.
I'm gonna go Michael Jordan.
Ooh.
Maybe you never know. Michael Jordan maybe wanted a TV for one of his million houses that he has, and then I'm gonna go Aaron. Oh no, actually Aaron Gordon didn't win one. Wow, I forgot he got hosed. Nate Robinson.
It's Jason Richardson and the OG GOAT, the East Bay Funk Dunk of Isaiah J.R. Ryder, who actually lives in Chandler.
Wow.
I sold him a few TVs. So, love the dunk contest. I wish it got back to where it was back in the day. But all us old whites can sit back and watch and be like, oh, back in my day, I remember when Harold Miner was in it and D. Brown and Sid Ceballos.
Well, 2016 was probably the last one with Levine and Gordon, and then 2020 with Gordon and I believe it was Derrick Jones Jr. Well, luckily, Dwayne Wade won't be the judge for tonight's slam dunk contest. When you look at this field, Jeff, who do you like in tonight's slam dunk contest?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what. I like Kenyon Martin Jr. I could be convinced on Mac McClung just for the giggles, but give me Kenyon Martin.
Okay, and then the 3-point contest, we've got a lot of guys obviously in the field. We got some top shooters like Buddy Hield, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, Kevin Huerter, Lauri Markkanen, Tyler Hero, Tyrese Halliburton, and Julius Randle. Who are you aiming for the 3-point champ this year? Because last year it was Karl Anthony Towns, which shocked everybody. But who do you got winning this year?
I'm gonna go my guy Tyler Hero. I think once he gets hot, I like him, and we're gonna have to get hot real quick because it's a good field. I'm actually kind of more excited about the 3-point contest than I am about the dunk contest this year. But give me Tyler Hero.
I agree. The 3-point contest is starting to trend up, especially with Kenny Smith, Reggie Miller announcing it as well. But appreciate you always, Jeff Hoodzow, for coming on. If you want to test your picks against him, call 602-260-9191. And thanks for putting me on the spot there. I learned something today.
Hey, well, you guys put me on the spot because Bauer usually gives me a heads up on our picks, Jackson. But, you're filling in. We're working on it. We're going to take it one day at a time. And when you're ready for that big 4K smart TV, I got you covered.
He's the best. You can follow him at Zow's Hot Takes. Jeff Hoodzow. Hey, let's do it again next Saturday.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
Hey, you too. Man, Jeff Hoodzow always putting me on the spot. Best deal in town, AZ. If you want to go to that, that's off of 235 East Baseline Road, Tempe, Arizona. They got so many great flat screen TVs, and you get to hang out with Jeff Hoodzow, which for those out there listening, he's a great guy. I met him a couple times here for the show. Great picks on that. I want to go back to talking Cardinals real quick. As we end this hour, Bauer, obviously, Mike Bauer, appreciate you coming on for the first segment, but I didn't have an opportunity to come kind of say what I think about this Arizona Cardinals team. We're kind of flying all over the boards, but Arizona Cardinals, we learned from Clancy, we learned from Bauer. Don't expect a whole lot this season. Don't expect a whole lot. We're not going to win a Super Bowl, obviously. I think a chance of the playoffs is more likely for this team. But when you look at the last year's Lions and how they started 1-6 and they finished 9-8 with Dan Campbell, you can tell the culture there. It's something special, something they're on the rise. They're not the same old Lions. They're brand new Lions coming up this year. And we got a scouting guy, I forget his name. I believe it's Johnson, coming from the Lions that people have been impressed with. So Cardinals fans,
2 minutes.
Let's have a good culture change here coming in. And then we look forward to the combine coming in 10 days, that third pick. Everyone's been saying the Bears, Cardinals are two teams that could either trade out of it or maybe even trade up to get who they want. For me personally, third pick, I think you stay at 3. I think with DeAndre Hopkins, if you do trade him, whether you do or not, maybe try to accumulate some second-round picks to get another second-round pick, because we've seen recently that second-round pick be more valuable for the Cardinals than that first round. But Will Anderson Jr., you missed out on an edge rusher with Nick Bosa obviously drafting Kyler Murray. You obviously missed out on Hassan Reddick and not playing him to his position he was in college until his last year and then he wanted more money. Of course, who doesn't want more money? He was a Pro Bowl selection, and he had one of the best years that we've seen from an edge rusher for the Cardinals. Will Anderson Jr. from Alabama, he's been dominating ever since his freshman year. He's had 34 and a half sacks in 3 seasons, 200 tackles as an edge rusher. Will Anderson Jr. is my pick. Stay at number 3, Arizona Cardinals fans. A lot of potential, but look out for him in the NFL Combine. And that will wrap up our number 1. Jackson Groff joining you for the first hour. Appreciate those for sticking by and watching and listening to my voice for the first hour because, hey, we're about to listen to it for another hour or so. Coming up, we got Gerald Bourguet coming in at 12:15, lead analyst for
30 seconds.
PHNX Sports. Marco D'Angelo will give his college basketball picks at 12:30. But coming up next, we're going to talk more Suns, talk about more NBA as we are not at the halfway point, but 3/4 of the way. We got 22 games left in the NBA season. Take the points. Stay with us. Fox Sports 910.
All clear.
Golfers, tee it up this Thursday through Sunday.
Especially when you got to fill some time.
Launch event. Get fit for the new Stealth 2 Woods, which combines speed and forgiveness to unlock forgiveness. Try the new Stealth HD irons that deliver high launch with draw bias to give you the confidence to expect better.
Yeah, I love the sun.
Go to worldwidegolfshops.com and reserve your free custom fitting experience.
Sounds good.
This Thursday through Sunday. Vans Golf Shops. Unmatched expertise, unmatched service.
I'm actually excited for the skills challenge. I always like the skills challenge.
Basketball on AZTV Channel 7 every Monday and Saturday.
It's actually pretty fun.
Courtside for both men's and women's college hoops. AZTV Channel 7.
Yeah, me too.
Check out the schedule at aztv.com.
I think the rookies are going to win.
Selection. It's all now at Wright Toyota in Scottsdale. Stop by today and see why Wright Toyota continues to be Arizona's top Toyota dealership.
Was it the? I know one year like the bigs one. Like it was like Jokic. It was like a bunch of bigs.
I'm Byron Brown, the anti-lawyer lawyer. When it comes to your personal injury case, I'm straight to the point. I'll answer your call. No BS.
On the free iHeartRadio app, you never pay to hear what you love, and you never wait to hear what you want. Save your money, save your time, and listen anywhere. Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
iHeartRadio.
Introducing Total by Verizon, a new prepaid wireless provider with no contract plans starting at just $30 a month. With Total by Verizon, you don't have to sacrifice reliability or freedom. Get Total by Verizon and save money every month on America's most reliable 5G network. Most reliable 5G based on most first place rankings and Root Metrics first half 2022 assessments of 125 metros. Experiences vary, not an endorsement.
Fans of the hit TV show.
Oh yeah, you want me to play this rejoin?
Every episode on Unpacking the Toolbox, a Scandal Rewatch podcast, hosted by the cast members behind Quinn Perkins and Huck. So, gladiators, grab some Gettysburger and relive Scandal's most iconic OMG moments.
We would be in like 110 degrees in a wool coat.
Yep.
I mean, the chafing that was going on in my pencil skirts, I deserve all the acting awards, people.
Listen to Unpacking the Toolbox, a Scandal Rewatch podcast on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Monday from 10
I'll play it like after the intro.
This is
so that they know it's like taking the point.
KESC HD2 Phoenix and iHeartRadio.
So the first segment says 13. And we can go shorter than that if you want to go longer on the interview. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, because the interviews are the most important.
This is the My Guy Referrals Weather Center. Visit myguy.com for 5-star local referrals. Make My Guy your guy.
A nice Saturday for us with a forecast high of 59 degrees, plenty of sunshine expected. Saturday night, the overnight low falling to 38, with some of the areas surrounding the valley falling to around freezing. On to our Sunday, a high of 60 degrees. It'll be mostly sunny in the afternoon. For the Fox 10 weather experts, I'm meteorologist Crystal Ortiz.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
Time for Arizona's only local sports gambling radio show. Take the Points. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Your home for uncensored sports betting opinions, analysis, and advice. The guys have you covered for all the games. Now, take the Points on Fox Sports 910 and the iHeartRadio app.
Bit of a spurt by the Suns. They've cut it to 4, and then Phoenix, another steal. Unbelievable as the Clippers suddenly get awfully sloppy. Josh Okogie.
You're live.
Cash money. Josh Okogie, one of multiple surprises, one of multiple headlines from the month of February. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Take the Points, the only sports betting show in Arizona. We are live here from the beautiful CAZ Sports Bar. We've got some people cashing in some tickets. Some people going up to the live kiosk, talking to some people right now to place their college basketball, All-Star Weekend, maybe NBA future bets as well. We talk NBA futures before, after KD effect for the Suns. Before KD, the Suns were plus 1,800 to win the NBA championship this season. And then after, jumped up to plus 450 that Thursday morning. And for those out there who live under a rock, it's been 9 days since KD's been traded, and I will forever. I still cannot believe that Kevin Durant is a Phoenix Sun. But will it end up working out? We'll talk to Gerald Bourguet, who's the lead Suns writer for PHNX Sports. He leads the PHNX Suns podcast. They do a great job over there. We'll talk to him at 12:15 to see if this will actually work. What will be the biggest struggles, biggest transitions coming in? Because when it's all said and done, when I look around, and I've been watching sports media recently, and they're saying, DeAndre needs to step up when Kevin Durant gets in the lineup, Chris Paul, all these guys, they're assuming that Devin Booker's going to work out with Kevin Durant, and I sure as hope to God that it works out with Kevin Durant and Booker. But when you look at this team, 90% of the team hasn't played with a superstar of his caliber. We haven't seen Devin Booker play with a guy, another 20-point scorer in the same lineup since 2016 with Eric Bledsoe. Now, Eric Bledsoe, Kevin Durant, kind of different scales when it comes to it. But how can Devin Booker not be passive but be assertive and get his 28 points when Kevin Durant needs to get his 30 while functioning a good offensive scheme to get others involved, including Ayton? Chris Paul is going to be a big factor. Obviously, the one dishing out. I think if you're Chris Paul, you sit back, you say, man, I'm so relieved I don't have to be that number 2. Because when they had Chris Paul, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, all these guys, Devin Booker was the number 1, and you had a bunch of number 2, number 3 guys. Now, with Kevin Durant in the lineup, he's your number 1/number 2 with Booker. And this allows Paul to facilitate more, give you 10, 12 assists a night, get guys like DeAndre Ayton protecting the rim 2 to 3 touches a quarter. That's all we ask. I think something that Ayton's done better at with the month of February that he's had. He's averaging around 22 points in the month of February. He's attacking the rim more. He's getting to the foul line. I compare him to Joel Embiid just because Joel Embiid is the best center in the NBA. And I said it 2 weeks ago on the show. You have to get to the foul line to apply pressure to the basket. You need to draw fouls, get to the free throw line, because those are easy buckets, easy points that you can get throughout games. And I feel as if he's not taking advantage of it. He's starting to realize that, including Shaquille O'Neal mentioned the other night, he's got to be at least 60% from the field, and he's got to get to the line. He's got to average about 6 to 8 free throws a game. Defense will be a big target in these last 22 games. We'll see. Defense was a huge key with Bridges and Cam Johnson being those two wing defenders for this team. I'm excited to talk to Gerald Bourguet, about who he thinks will step up in those roles. Rumors of Kevin Love have been circulating with his contract buyout. Right now, the Heat have emerged as the front runner, and he wants to meet with the 76ers. The last time we saw, Kevin Durant was supposedly going to stay at the Nets, Matt Ishaba said, we're getting you to Phoenix. So anything can happen in the NBA. Yes, there's rumors. Yes, there's alleged front runners. But the Suns could go in and maybe get a Kevin Love, another veteran, another 4, a good rebounding, and also a good defender as well. When it comes down to it, I'm excited. We got to stay level-headed in the last 22 games. Is 22 games enough time for this team, for Monty Williams to adjust to a guy like Kevin Durant? We shall see. I love the attention for the Suns. I love everyone saying, yes, we're going to win a championship this year. Yes, we're plus 450. This is the team to beat. But when you look at the Western Conference standings right now, this is a tight conference. You got the Nuggets, who have developed a tight core with Jokic, Porter, Gordon, Murray, Will Barton. Their biggest thing right now is staying healthy, and they continue to stay healthy. You got Ja Morant and the Grizzlies. These are two teams that have been around each other for years. They've been developing these guys that they've drafted, and they've had so much chemistry. The Kings at 3, I don't see them staying at 3 for much long. I could see them as like a 6 or 7 seed. The Clippers are starting to get hot at the right time, and I think that's a team, which we'll talk to Gerald in the next couple minutes or so, that the Suns do not want to face. You got Paul George, who's a good player in the playoffs. You've got Eric Gordon. You've got good bigs down low. How will the Suns match up with their 5th guy? You see Josh Okogie doing well recent. Is he going to be in the lineup with the 5th? Are they going to base it on matchups, against maybe like a Giannis? Are they going to go more big with Biyombo, with Landell coming off the bench? Or are they going to bring more guard play and emphasize more on the offensive side? Because, yes, defense will lack, but in the playoffs, you need more offensive scoring. That's why they brought in Kevin Durant. All of these storylines we'll be looking to, but man, Josh Okogie. And I want to bring on Ryan. Ryan Cirk, our national champion, the board op, the man that does it all. You're a huge Suns fan. What was your reaction when you heard this Kevin Durant deal? And are you optimistic that this will work? How do you see the Suns in these next 22 games, being a Suns fan as well?
Yeah, so I actually woke up to the news, as many of us did. I have a lot of friends on the East Coast, and I had a bunch of text messages and missed calls, and I was like, what happened? Like, did something go over the air that I said or something bad? And then all of a sudden, I checked my phone. I'm like, oh, my goodness, Kevin Durant's coming to Phoenix. I can't believe this. Like, this is my best chance, I guess, as a Suns fan to win a championship, because in my lifetime, the closest we've ever got was obviously where we lost to the Bucks. But other than that, there hasn't in my lifetime been a real shot for the Suns to win a championship. And now I feel like we might actually be able to. And then my next reaction was, who did we give up? And that's the sad part, is giving up Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges. Those two are really, like, they were the heart of the team, and I really like those guys. They gave it all for the Suns, and it is sad to see them go, but it is also great to see them succeed over in Brooklyn.
Yeah, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, I keep checking up on them like an ex-girlfriend. It's just like they've had so much tie to this community, so much tie to Phoenix, and hopefully some guys can step in on the defensive side of the ball, because Mikal Bridges obviously was runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year last year. But, man, I mean, credit to Devin Booker and what he's been through. I'm so happy that he got Kevin Durant to come to this organization, who's a fan of him, who wants to play with Devin Booker, because when the Suns signed him to that 10-year deal, a lot of people were kind of turning their head like, wait, you signed this guy right here, Devin Booker? He's averaging 22 points a game. That next season just elevated his game, averaging 28, 29, now 30 points again, this Devin Booker, he's a star, and he's still, I think, the most disrespected player in the league. He continues to grab so much pull. We saw with CP3 coming in, and now with Kevin Durant. Well, I'm excited to talk more Suns, but real quickly, for those out there, preseason Suns win total. I want to talk about those who had the preseason Suns was at 52.5. Well, I'm sorry, those who had the over 52.5 wins. There's no chance they can do it from now on, being 22 games left. Their current record is 32-28. If they win all 22 games, actually, no, they can, actually. I'm mistaken. They got to go 21-1 in order to beat that total. The current total right now that you can bet at the CAZ Sports Bar, DraftKings, FanDuel, everywhere you want to, is at 45.5 wins, which means they'll have to go 14-8 in their last couple of games. We'll see if they can do so with Kevin Durant and the boys on the Phoenix Suns. Well, we're here at the CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. We always mention it. This is the place to be. Come in, cash those tickets. As Marco always says, there's a bunch of kiosks, live bettors currently betting in at the current tables. You can go get a drink, obviously go bet on the slots right here at the Casino Arizona, all that fun stuff here at the CAZ Sports Bar. Well, coming up, Gerald Bourguet, one of the top guys when it comes to covering the Suns, will join us next on Fox Sports 910. This is Take the Points. Let's keep talking Suns. Coming up right after the break.
Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, continues next on Fox Sports 910 and the free iHeartRadio app. Six-time Pro Bowl quarterback Donovan McNabb joins Jody Ayler.
This is a 3-minute break.
Drive to talk the biggest stories from the NFL. Tuesday at 8:33 on Fox Sports 910. Brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official.
So you have until like the 28-minute mark for this interview.
Toyota's is Right Toyota. Hey, Rock, for my friends at Right Toyota.
And again, you can go longer and then longer with Marco and then have a shorter last segment.
Has been driving Arizona's home for years with their amazing.
Yeah, because it's just your picks. And then, like, that's it.
I encourage you to discover the difference at Right Toyota.
Sounds good.
Make the right choice, Right Toyota. Just off the 101 on Frankwood, right?
Yeah,
and always on
I wouldn't mind that.
Toyota.com. The right price, the right selection. Check out RightToyota.com.
Looking for a change in your career? All City Towing is searching for motivated teammates to join their team. Current openings now available in customer service, tow truck operators, yard management, facilities maintenance, and dispatch. Apply online at
also. So the next song. So Post Malone Circles. When he says running in circles, tell me it doesn't sound like he's saying Ryan Cirque.
But the thing you hardly ever hear is them talking about.
I mean, maybe just because it's my name, so I'm like, oh my goodness, he said Ryan Cirque.
They have some. But I don't know of any other law firm that has recovered billions
that's right.
for their injured clients and that is recovering millions of dollars every week in Arizona. What other law firm can say that? Experience.
I like having the rejoin sounds.
Hurt in a wreck? Call Lerner and Rowe today.
Lerner and Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
Get ready for the nothing but net action of college basketball on AZTV Channel 7. Every Monday and Saturday, we take you courtside for both men's and women's college hoops. AZTV Channel 7. Check out the schedule at aztv.com.
Shopping for a mortgage? Big.
And you want the whole segment?
Big hassle.
The whole 40 seconds?
Global Capital and work with a local team of mortgage experts for great
Sounds
rates
good.
and lower fees. More
I'm calling Gerald.
Faster closings. Don't let your dream home purchase turn into a nightmare. Call the professionals at GC Global Capital, 480-397-9300. GC Global Capital, your local mortgage professionals.
GC Global Capital is an Arizona licensed mortgage broker. NMLS 1091187. License MB 0924983. An equal opportunity lender.
Where will your new Chevy take you this year? Anywhere. It's the perfect time of year to take your next adventure off-road in a powerful Chevy Silverado. Round up the whole gang for some family fun in a Chevy Equinox. Hey kids, let's go. Or take your night on the town by storm.
We got him.
Stylish Chevy Blazer. Make more memories and take on the road ahead. Wherever it leads you. Find new experiences, find new roads. See your Valley Chevy dealers.
Using your phone should never have to be a luxury. Walmart Family Mobile now offers free or discounted plans through the Affordable Connectivity Program. ACP is a government program that helps eligible Americans have access to wireless service. You could get unlimited talk, text, and 8 gigabytes of high-speed data for free when you qualify. Apply now at myfamilymobile.com/ACP. Walmart Family Mobile is supported by the Affordable Connectivity Program and Lifeline Government Assistance Program.
Here we go.
Please visit myfamilymobile.com/ACP for more information.
I know it's always it's pressure because I'm one of the best players to ever play the game. So every time, so every time I step on the floor, people are going to expect me to do great things, and the team I'm on to do great things. But I enjoy getting better as a player every day. I enjoy just waking up and getting to do this. So I don't ever say anything's a failure if I'm healthy enough to play the game of basketball. But I know what's on our backs, and we understand that, and we want to do the most. We want to get the most out of this opportunity.
You're live.
KD. Still cannot believe he's a Phoenix Sun. But will it actually work out? Joining us now to talk more Suns is the lead Suns writer at GoPHNX.com and the co-host of the PHNX Suns podcast. One of the best to cover the Suns in the Valley, Gerald Bourguet. Gerald, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate the time as always. And how are you doing on this fine Saturday?
Yeah, absolutely. Doing great. Recovering from the last week that was and all its craziness, but doing pretty good.
Man, how you were there at the press conference. I mean, I've never seen such an electric press conference, all those fans lining up outside of it. What was it like being there in the moment, asking Kevin Durant the question and just being a part of that whole experience?
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty surreal press conference, like you said. I think this is the biggest superstar acquisition in Valley sports history, honestly. And it was a type of fanfare that this organization doesn't typically get to enjoy. So it was a pretty surreal experience seeing him there. And it was also kind of cool because as much as, there were 3,000 fans there and T-shirt tosses and highlight video reels, like Kevin Durant kind of set a different tone as far as like, I'm here to work. He was saying he didn't feel like he deserved all of this because as much as he's accomplished in his career, he hasn't done anything in a Suns jersey yet. So he's very much approaching this with a worker's mentality of putting his head down and doing the work daily to get this team where it wants to go.
So having about a week or so to digest all that's happened with Kevin Durant and with all these new people coming in, do you think 22 games, do you think this will work out with DeAndre and with Booker and with CP3? Will things gel in just 22 games with Kevin Durant?
I think so, just because there's too much talent here for it to not work. There will definitely be some kinks that need to be ironed out over the next few weeks. Like you said, there's not a ton of time for them to get on the same page. And against some other teams like, the Nuggets, or if they were to reach the finals, the Celtics and Bucks would have more continuity and possibly even depth on their side. But the Suns have done a nice job at the trade deadline, aside from Kevin Durant, just adding a couple of players that can put the ball in the hole, and they might just have enough talent to overcome that type of thing. Most of the players have been in the system for a while, and Kevin Durant is one of the most adaptable superstars in NBA history. He's been able to adjust to whatever types of stars he's playing with. And honestly, the way that the Suns use Mikal, like they're getting a super powered version of Mikal now with Kevin Durant on the offensive end, a guy who can get his own bucket at any time. So I do think there's enough talent to overcome some of those things. It's not going to be easy. Obviously, you look at the superstar names and just assume that they'll be a finals contender. I don't think it's that cut and dry, but they definitely have the talent to figure this out pretty quickly.
Gerald Bourguet joins us to talk Suns, and I want to talk about the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, defense was a backbone, and it is a backbone of the first 60 games of the Suns. Losing two big pieces in Bridges and Johnson on the wings, does the Suns' defensive play without those two guys worry you down the stretch and into the playoffs, or do you think maybe great offense can outweigh poor defense? I know Kevin Durant also mentioned that he knows he has to step up in defense too in that press conference.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be one of the most high-powered offenses ever, just thinking about what Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant are all capable of doing in the pick and roll. And they have an elite pick and roll center with DeAndre Ayton as well. You put another shooter in that corner, the offense might be able to overcome whatever flaws they have defensively. I do think losing Mikal Bridges' point of attack defense hurts you. They used him a lot to cover for Chris Paul and kind of hide him on that end, put Mikal on their best guard or opposing wing. And they don't really have that right now, but they could if they start Josh Okogie. I know that he offensively, historically, has not been great, but he's come on really strong over the last few weeks. I think he's shooting better than 40% from three since the calendar changed to 2023. And his point of attack defense could help replicate a lot of what they lost with Mikal on that front. And I also think Kevin Durant's defense does go overlooked. He said at the press conference, he understands why people kind of overlook his performance on that side of the ball because people like watching offense, and he's one of the best to ever do it. But his defense does kind of fly under the radar. He's a pretty solid rim protector at just nearly 7 feet tall, and he's having one of his best defensive seasons this year. So I think between that and the system that the Suns have and the fact that Booker has long been an underrated defender now, I think this team has enough on both sides of the ball to be really, really good.
You mentioned Josh Okogie. I mean, what a month of February for him. He's been averaging 21.3 points a game, 2 steals, 5 rebounds, 55% from the field. Because when I saw in the summer, at least for me, when they signed Josh Okogie, I was like, who the hell is this guy? I don't know who this guy is. Him and Jock Landale were 2 guys that have shocked me this season. Do you see Okogie, being that 5th guy in the starting lineup, or do you kind of see Monty kind of adjusting his lineup depending on who the opponent is, maybe against kind of a more bigger team than like the Clippers or the Bucks later on in the season?
Yeah, I mean, Monty's never been afraid to adjust, and I think sometimes he errs on the side of adjusting his lineups to match what other teams are doing a little bit too much. So it is possible that we could see, multiple different 5th starters with that core 4 that they have. I think Okogie has done enough to earn that job. I do think Monty likes Torrey Craig as well, so you can't rule that out. But I just think for what the Suns need, Okogie kind of complements that starting 5, and any concerns that you have about his offensive performance holding up, they're kind of mitigated by the fact that he's surrounded by 4 elite players on that end. So it could help make up for some of those flaws, and the defense would be a really nice fit there, especially if he continues to play the way that he's been playing lately. But you said it, like, there are a lot of options for Monty. His job is going to be figuring out a rotation and kind of sticking with it so that those rotations can build chemistry together, because they don't have a ton of time before the playoffs start to do so. He was saying the other night when he played 12 guys against the Clippers, he played too many guys. He's got to get his rotation down to 9.5-ish players and kind of stick with that so they can create that cohesion. So definitely something to keep an eye on. I think Okogie would be a good fit, but it also wouldn't surprise me if they went with Torrey Craig in that starting spot.
You mentioned that bench rotation for Monty, and they obviously added Terrence Ross, TJ Warren, and Darius Baisley, and there's rumors out there with Kevin Love too. If you were the head coach, let me put that head coach cap on you, Gerald, if you don't mind me. How are you rotating this bench? There's obviously been guys like Campaign, there's been Damian Lee, there's been Shaman obviously hurt, but there's been some guys that have been there, Saban Lee. How do you think, if you were the head coach, how would you manage that bench? Because, I mean, I think this bench could be deeper than maybe people intend and expect.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough question because they have so many players that can help, and the question is which ones are going to work in which matchups. And, if you put a guy in for 5 minutes as opposed to 10 to 15, will that be enough for him to get in a groove? So I think with the rotations, once Campaign gets back, I think he'll be part of that rotation. Torrey Craig, Josh Okogie have done enough to earn minutes, depending on which one of those 2 is starting. Terrence Ross, based on the way that Monty, Matt Ishbia, and James Jones all played a role in kind of recruiting him, and given how many minutes he played in his first game, you can tell that he'll be part of that rotation. And I think TJ Warren might be in there as well. And then from there, you kind of have to decide based on the matchup whether Jock Landale or Bismack Biyombo would be a better fit. If you need defense and rim protection, Biz is probably your guy, and he's a little bit stronger. If you need a little bit more of an offensive skill set and maybe a pick and pop threat, Jock Landale is probably your guy. Both have done well in spots this season, but it's been hard for either one to kind of establish a groove. I personally would go with Jock just because it seems like he needs more minutes to get in a flow. Whereas Biz, you can just throw him out at any time and know that he's going to produce for you. Because we've seen that so many times where he's been the third center, come in and immediately make an impact. So that's how I would approach it. But they have a much deeper team. I think at this point with Shamit's injury and just the way that he's performed over the last year or so, he might be the guy that gets kind of axed from the rotation, especially with Terrence Ross coming in now.
The lead Suns writer at GoPHNX.com, co-host of the PHNX Suns podcast, Gerald Bourguet, joins us. And when we look at this Western Conference, Gerald, obviously the Suns being at 5 right now with 22 games left, it's such a tight, deep conference. And with the media out there saying the Suns are the favorites to win now with Kevin Durant. But I take a step back and say, hold on, there's so many teams left that have established so much chemistry. Who are some teams in the Western Conference that you would say pose the biggest threat and that make you nervous heading into the playoffs and maybe even facing in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think the obvious big one is the Nuggets at the very top. They're a very deep team. They have that chemistry, like I was talking about, that continuity. Jokic is pretty much on his way to his third straight MVP award, so he's always a handful. And if Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. stay healthy, that's a tough team to attack. But I do think, DeAndre Ayton has done really well against Jokic historically. And I do think the Suns do a really nice job of targeting MPJ when he's on the floor in those matchups. So I still think the Suns are the best bet to win the West. The Nuggets are a concern. The Clippers are a tough matchup just because if Kawhi and Paul George are healthy, they're a handful for any team. And they've got a ton of depth and a really good coach in Tyronn Lue. And then the Pelicans, if they can get Zion Williamson healthy, they were the number one team in the West for most of the season before injuries started taking a toll. And I do think they're a tough matchup because of the way they attack the offensive glass. But those are kind of the three that stand out to me. I think I would still favor the Suns in any one of those series just because they have so much talent on both ends of the floor.
Whenever you're good.
But it's not going to be as easy as people think, I think.
That's some good news for Suns fans out there. I love hearing that, Gerald. Thanks so much for coming on. We look forward to having you on again with Bauer and Gross here as well. But as always, thanks so much for the time, and we appreciate it. Look out for Gerald on all of his socials at Gerald Bourguet. Thanks for the time, Gerald. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome stuff there from Gerald, man. He is the guy, breaks down, writes it on GoPHNX.com. And they always do a great job with pregame shows, postgame shows, and any news emergency podcast, always on YouTube at PHNX. Well, coming up next, you know him as Marco D'Angelo. He's the number one handicapper at Wager Talk when it comes to hoops. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about college hoops and more next on Fox Sports 910. This is Take the Points.
Take the Points.
All clear.
Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona continues next on Fox Sports 910 and the free iHeartRadio app.
Any car dealer in Arizona can compete on price.
Yeah, me too. You can never count them out.
Can compete on customer satisfaction, like Wright Toyota. Make the right choice. Wright Toyota in Scottsdale, just off the 101 on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard, and online at WrightToyota.com.
Are you living paycheck to paycheck only to find yourself going backwards financially each month? Nobody wants to file bankruptcy.
Yeah.
It's the best choice. The credit industry wants you to believe that bankruptcy is bad and that it
30 more minutes.
Credit forever. But that's just not true. In most
this one I'm not going to give you a time. Just go until you feel like it.
Law Group, our bankruptcy lawyers only work on bankruptcy cases, and we can file your bankruptcy with $0 down.
Murder and rope is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
Are you looking to get into the best shape of your life or looking to offer your son or daughter the best training in Arizona? Then listen up. Dan Minucci for the new Coco 5 Performance at Bell Bank Park in Mesa. The state-of-the-art Performance Center is a 25,000 square foot facility and is home to sports performance for teams, individuals, combine prep, and professional athletes. And now the new home where I coach my quarterback. 80 yards of indoor turf and track along with an outside turf workout area, plus tons of squat and bench stations along with world-class training equipment. And they have the best team of coaches in the Southwest led by Olympic gold medal winner Dan O'Brien. If you or your son or daughter are ready to take the next step by gaining more speed, agility, power, and flexibility, then you need to check out the Coco 5 Performance Center at Bell Bank Park. Sign Sign up by calling 480-572-0647, and one of their team members will create an individualized program specific to your needs. That's 480-572-0647 or online at legacyperformanceaz.com. For limited time, if you mention me, Nan Minucci, they'll give you your first session on me. That's legacyperformanceaz.com.
Jenny!
Hey, Jenny!
Jenny, come on in! Steve!
Hey, Steve!
Steve, how you doing?
Meg!
Meg, nice to see you! Hey, Meg!
Arena Sports Grill. Come on out for the sports, off-track betting, incredible food, and friendly faces. The best daily specials in Scottsdale. Arena Sports Grill, 62nd Street in Bell. We know you.
What's up, guys? Jason Payne, owner of State 48 Roofing.
We got
on Instagram, Facebook,
we have Marco.
All of our work using state-of-the-art materials and 5-star workmanship. Our inspections are free. You heard me, free. Go to state48roofing.com to schedule your free appointment today.
Where will your new Chevy take you this year? Anywhere. It's the perfect time of year to take your next adventure off-road in a powerful Chevy Silverado. Round up the whole gang for some family fun in a Chevy Equinox. Hey kids, let's go. Or take your night on the town by storm in a stylish Chevy Blazer. Make more memories and take on the road ahead, wherever it leads you. Find new experiences, find new roads. See your Valley Chevy dealers.
Attention seniors on Medicare. One Medical Seniors is a doctor's office designed around you and your needs. With convenient locations, on-site labs, and care 20 seconds with specialists, our entire team works together to provide you with the best care possible. Come meet us at one of our no-cost events, like a Medicare 101 or a holiday party, and bring a friend. It's your time. It's your health. One Medical Seniors, building strong relationships with our patients and our community. Learn more at omsphoenix.com.
And here we go.
That's omsphoenix.com.
Who's a lock? Who should you stay away from? Take the points, powered by CAZ Sports Bar's resident handicapper. Marco D'Angelo of WagerTalk.com joins us
You're live
on Fox Sports 910.
Marco! You're just with me today, Marco. Jackson Groff, joined by the man at Marco in Vegas, Marco D'Angelo. Now, let me give you some props, Marco. You know, you are a very good when it comes to sports betting for football, but I had no idea that you have a hoops background as well. You're the number one in Wager Talk when it comes to hoop in the last 34 days, 59-28. Since Thanksgiving, 88-44. You're the number one hoops handicapper at Wager Talk. I had no idea, Marco. Let's go.
Let's do it. Don't jinx me now. We've been running good.
That's awesome. Well, let's get into the college basketball talks, obviously, because, you know, usually we provide the games for you, but you've provided 2 college basketball games for us. I want to start off with 9 Baylor at 5 Kansas. Kansas in this one is favored by 5.
Yeah, guys, I wanted to there's so many college basketball games. I wanted to give you plays that I actually liked and have bet myself for the listeners. We want to bring some winners to you guys. And looking at this Baylor-Kansas game, this is a revenge game. Now, I always tell you guys, revenge is one of the most overused words in sports betting, but there's certain times that I do look at it, and this is going to be one of them. Baylor won the first meeting, 75-67 is a 2-point favorite. Since that loss, Kansas has gone 5-1 straight up the last 6 games, both straight up and against the spread. Why I point that out is Kansas is one of those teams we know, you know, they're blue blood like Duke, Kentucky, you know, they don't rebuild. They just reload every year. But what happens because they have such a turnover, because you get so many one-and-done players, it takes a little bit of time for them to gel. And you see them pick up steam the second half of the season. You get into that month of February. You start to see them playing their best basketball as they head into the month of March. Now, if you go back and look in those last 6 games, the one game they lost was an absolute horrible scheduling spot for Kansas. They were coming off beating Kentucky when the Big 12 and the SEC had that challenge on a Saturday a couple weeks ago. They beat Kentucky. Even though Kentucky's down a notch this year, it's still the name Kentucky. That's a big game. But then it was the game after that that was the really big game. Kansas had a revenge game against their arch rival, Kansas State. They got their revenge in a blowout win. They win by double digits, 90-78. They went on the road 3 days later at Iowa State. That's the game they lost. The Iowa State caught them off of those two big wins. And who did Kansas have on deck after Iowa State? Saturday they played. 2 days later, they were playing on Big Monday. They were playing first place Texas. So the fact that Baylor beat them, it was the perfect spot for them to do so. That's why I like Kansas in revenge. Now let's look at Baylor real quick. They're 10-1 their last 11 games. Before you get all excited about Baylor and that 10-1 record, only 2 of the 11 games were against teams in the top 5 of the Big 12. They've been beating up on the bottom half. The 2 teams that they played that were in the top 5, the one was the win over Kansas, and we just shot the validity out of that win. And then the other one was they played Texas, and they got beat by Texas. Baylor, they're not as good as their record indicates. Kansas is going to get revenge today. I've got them winning 77-68. And by the way, Kansas 12-1 straight up at home this year. And as I said, they're playing their best ball right now. Let's lay it with Kansas.
Kansas, he takes there, and I believe if my math corrects me, right, I believe that's the under 148.5. If I'm correct, I could be wrong.
That is correct, but I'm not going to go on the official play with the under in that one. But we are on Kansas.
Okay, I got you. Well, let's transition to another game. Michigan State at Michigan. Now, when you talk about Michigan State and Michigan, these are 2 premier, obviously, basketball teams that are having a rough year, kind of under the radar. Michigan State being 16-9 with Tom Izzo versus Juwan Howard and the 14-12 Michigan Wolverines. A rivalry game. How do you see this one in this matchup, Marco?
Well, the knee-jerk reaction for most people are they're going to look at this game, and it's a good thing our buddy Mike Gross isn't here today because I'm going against his Michigan team here.
Oh.
But we're going to take Michigan State. Most people would want to grab Michigan in revenge because it's the rivalry. They're only laying 2. Most people are going to look at this game and say, Michigan at home in revenge. They just got to win the game. They're only laying 2. Sign me up. No, not so fast. The reason we're going to go with Michigan State, first of all, I'm really not a fan of this Michigan team. They've been up and down all season, and I think it's a lot to do with the coach there. I'm not a big Howard fan, but I look at Michigan State and I look at Tom Izzo, and yeah, I'm a fan of Tom Izzo. And every year it's the same thing. This is a team that starts to play better basketball late February, and then they become a tough out in the month of March, and that's what I see happening with Michigan State here. One thing I'm going to point out about Michigan State, and this is why they are always so good come tournament time. They don't play a cupcake schedule at the beginning of the season. While a lot of coaches and ADs, they want to schedule little sisters of the poor in the month of November, pad your stats. That doesn't build your team, okay? Michigan State, listen to who they played in the month of November. They had a 5-game stretch over a 2-week period where they played in order Gonzaga, Kentucky, Villanova, Alabama, and Oregon. That's a murderer's row of college basketball teams, and they only played one of those games at home. The other 4 were either on the road or at a neutral site. That's how you build a team foundation early in the season, toughen them up for later in the season. Now you've got them, and by the way, they went 3-2 in that 5-game stretch at the beginning of the season, where a team that only brought back 2 starters from the previous year. That's a pretty good showing for them, and that tells me that this 16-9 record that Michigan State has, they're actually better than that. They were young at the beginning of the season, played that tough schedule. Now, let's look at them the last 3 games. They have turned up the defensive intensity. Last 3 opponents, they've held to 37, 39, and 28% shooting from the field. Wow. And going backwards, 3 games back, they held Rutgers to 61 points. They held Maryland to 58. And last time out, they held Ohio State to 41 points. I always say, guys, You give me the points with the better defensive team, I'm there. We're only getting 2, but they're going to win this game outright. I'm going ahead. I am taking Michigan State in the revenge spot. I've got Michigan State winning by 4 or more. Let's take the Spartans.
Okay, he's got the underdog Spartans by 4 or more there, and we got some more time with you, Marco. So I got to ask you advice. Obviously, you're being into college basketball season. What is your take? Because when we look at it, it feels like every single week, whoever the top dog is at number 1, like Alabama this week, loses that upcoming week. Is it just me, or is it a kind of like a wide variety? Anyone could win it this season, or who are you kind of favoring at the top as we head into conference championships and then the tournament itself?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of guys that just absolutely love betting against the number 1 team. The minute a team becomes number 1, they get that bullseye on their back, and the team, generally can't handle it. We saw Purdue actually get the number 1 spot, lose. Somehow, even with a loss that first week, they kept them at number 1 for a second week there, and then they lose again. So Purdue suffered the number 1 jinx twice. But yes, that is a good angle. But I'm going to give you another angle here, something to look at. It's been over 64% blind play this year. If you get a ranked team playing an unranked team, and the unranked team is the favorite, which doesn't happen that often, but it does, you take the unranked team and lay the points. That thing has been gold this year. It's happened a few times. Now, there's not one on today's card, unfortunately, but keep that in your arsenal for whenever you're looking at the games midweek and we're not talking about them. Remember that Uncle Marco dropped you a little knowledge there. And as far as we go to the end of the season here, anything can happen. What I like to look when we get to March, and I know you guys are new to sports betting in the last year or so. I'm going to give you a tip. A lot of guys like to bet somebody, get the big odds to win the national championship. You can make a futures bet. I'm going to tell you that most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, rather than taking a team at 20-1 or 30-1 for that future bet, if you wait till the tournament starts and you have a team like that, you bet whatever you were going to bet on them for that future bet on the money line. Just keep rolling it over. It's going to come out to more than what the odds are on the futures bet.
That's interesting. That's some interesting tips there from Marco. Over 40 years of betting in sports betting. And then lastly, you guys do so much great stuff at Wager Talk. I have the Wager Talk app myself. You transitioning to basketball now. What can we expect from you and Wager Talk as we head into the NCAA tournament?
Well, because of popular demand, this is the first year that we are doing it. We do the show Bet on It. That's my pride and joy. We only do it for football, but everybody's been clamoring for, we got to have basketball. We can't wait till next football season. So yesterday was the first show that we did for Bet on It. We're going to be doing it on Fridays. We'll cover some of the marquee games on Saturday for college basketball and give you some insight. So you can check that out every Friday through March Madness.
And for those listening, we're proud to announce that Marco will be joining us every Saturday till the Final Four. Let's go, Marco. You can't get rid of us just yet, but we appreciate you coming on at Marco in Vegas. Let's do it again next Saturday, and I promise Mike Gross, Mike Bauer will be here next week as well. We'll have the whole gang. But I appreciate you always.
We had the important guy here with the intro, Jackson.
I appreciate it. I heard you missed me last week with the Marco intro, and, we got to keep it going always. You're a special guy. We love having you on. But thanks always, Marco, and happy betting this weekend.
All right, let's cash some tickets, guys.
Let's cash some tickets. He's at Marco D'Angelo. Well, coming up next, we will give our picks. Myself will give Gross and Bauer's picks, but also our producer, Ryan Sirk, the national champion, will give his picks as well. That's all and more coming up next on Fox Sports 910. Let's Take the Points.
Take the points. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona continues next on Fox Sports 910 and the free iHeartRadio app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is The Odd Couple.
Let me calculate it.
With Chris Broussard and Rob Parker.
There's 2 angles. There's the Nets angle, and then there's the Phoenix Suns angle. From the Nets side of things, Rob, Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't think so. This is the big disappointment and failure in NBA history. Might be sports history.
With Chris Broussard and Rob Parker. Monday at 5 on Fox Sports 910.
For RightToyota.com. At Right Toyota, they'd like you to get to know them. Their goal is to make buying your next vehicle the kind of experience that earns your recommendation to family and friends. They invite you to use all of their innovative web tools on RightToyota.com. So if you're looking for a new or pre-owned Toyota, head to their interactive website at RightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection, all at RightToyota.com.
Arizona's largest locally owned A-plus BBB rated towing company is All City Towing. They're always looking to add motivated
So we have,
team members. Do you
let
fit
me
the
see.
bill? If so, head on over to allcitytowing.com/careers for more information.
9 minutes.
Golfers, tee it up this Thursday through Sunday at Van's Golf Shops, the tailor-made launch event. Get fit for the new Stealth 2 Woods, which combines speed and forgiveness
Sounds
to
good.
unlock forgiveness. Try the new Stealth HD irons that deliver high launch with draw bias to give you the confidence to expect better shots more often. Go to worldwidegolfshops.com and reserve your free custom fitting experience happening this Thursday through Sunday. Van's Golf Shops, unmatched expertise, unmatched service.
Get ready for the nothing but net action of college basketball on AZTV Channel 7. Every Monday and Saturday, we take you courtside for both men's and women's college hoops. AZTV Channel 7. Check out the schedule at aztv.com.
Where will your new Chevy take you this year? Anywhere. It's the perfect time of year to take your next adventure off-road in a powerful Chevy Silverado. Round up the whole gang for some family fun in a Chevy Equinox. Hey kids, let's go. Or take your night on the town by storm in a stylish Chevy Blazer. Make more memories and take on the road ahead, wherever it leads you.
I always like ending the show with this song.
Find new roads. See your Valley Chevy dealers.
Using your in West Virginia, at the bar I would go to for trivia nights on Wednesdays, every time they close, they play it. So it's stuck in my head.
ACP is a government program that helps eligible Americans have access to wireless service. You could get unlimited talk, text, and
57.
high-speed data for free when you qualify.
Actually, a little bit longer than that. 57.50. But I'll give you the 1 minute. It's at 56.50. So
Affordable Connectivity Program and Lifeline Government Assistance Programs. Please visit myfamilymobile.com
Here we go.
ACP for more information.
Back to Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, exclusively on Fox
You're live.
Sports 910.
Closing time of the show, the last segment of the day. And we appreciate those listening, watching on YouTube and on Twitter. Jackson Groff joining you. Been here for the last hour and around 48 minutes or so. But let's give you a quick update on the college basketball games for those out there that had a tickets on these college basketball slate today. Virginia survived, beating Notre Dame 57-55. They did not cover the 12.5. So those out there who had Notre Dame plus 12.5, you have won that bet. You can come here and cash it out at the CAZ Sports Bar. Number 14, Indiana survived 71-68 against Illinois. 20, UConn beat Seton Hall 64-55. And then currently we got TCU up 12 against Oklahoma State. Miami is up 3 at halftime against Wake Forest, 15 Miami that is. Another close game we have here at 19, Iowa State beating 12 Kansas State 24-17. Oklahoma, Texas, the Red River Showdown, but in basketball, tied at 34 at half. And then with 7 minutes and 38 seconds left in the second half, Kentucky has a 9-point lead against 10 Tennessee. Basketball all day long. When we look at the later slates here, Arizona tips off against Colorado on ESPN2 at 6 p.m. What other games do we have here? Alabama, Georgia, not football, but basketball tips off at 4 p.m. on the SEC Network. The big game of the day, 2 p.m., 9 Baylor at 5 Kansas. College Game Day was there this morning. We'll talk about that pick in our picks as well. And then also teeing off as well. The Genesis Invitational has already been underway. Round 3 and a current update on Tiger Woods, because who doesn't want to know how Tiger Woods is doing? He's 2 under today through 5 holes. 1 under. He's creeping his way up the leaderboard, tied for 36. But, right now he's made the cut, which means he's going to get some money. So make your way to as close to the top as possible to get as much money as you can. And then obviously All-Star Weekend starts tonight. Cannot wait. Saturday night, let's hope for a great one. We've got the skills challenge. We got the 3-point contest, the slam dunk contest. That'll be on TNT at 6 p.m. Well, it's time to make our picks. Mike Gross, Mike Bauer aren't here. I stepped up to the plate. We're adding Ryan. Ryan's going to have his picks for all of the picks we did earlier for Hudzow. So let's start off. 9 Baylor at 5 Kansas. Kansas favored by 5. The over-under at 148.5. Both Bauer and Gross are going Kansas -5. I'm going to go Kansas 5 as well. I agree with Marco. I think this Kansas team is dominant, especially at home. They're starting to get things clicking. Bill Self and those guys, they always reload every single year with such great talent. I like Kansas -5. Ryan, who do you like in this matchup? The over-under here is also 148.5.
I don't really know. It's a tough line, so I'm going to go under for that game because, it's a tough line for me. Under is what I'm feeling.
Okay, not a lot of scoring that Ryan sees there. I understand it. Baylor's got a good defensive team as well. The under, I could see the under the hitting there as well. Colorado at 8 Arizona. Colorado just lost a tough one against ASU the other night. They made a 2-hour drive all the way to Tucson. Arizona's favored by 12 points. Over-under total at 148. Mike Gross going Colorado +12. Bauer, like myself and Hudzow, we all think Arizona -12 here. They got so much firepower, especially at 6 p.m. McHale Center is going to be rocking. This is a team that's starting to click. Their biggest opponent is themselves. You can see they actually want it. They're starting to give more passion, more effort in these games. And when you look at this Arizona team, obviously they've been highlighted by I can't even say his name, Too Blessed, who is 19.9 points per game. This is a young team. I like this Arizona as they head into the Pac-12 championship. And then, Ryan, who do you like in this matchup? The over-under total is 148. Are you kind of leaning towards the team here, or are you still going with the total?
No, I'm going with the total again. I think it's too close of a line for me, as I mentioned in the last one, so I'm going over this time. I think you mentioned it with the high-powered team of Arizona. I just think that Colorado might hang in that game a little bit and eventually put this game over.
And we've seen that Colorado team hang in some games. They've scored a lot of points in their recent games. When we look at their schedule here, they're 15-12, 7-9 conference. They managed to score 59 points against Arizona State, 62 against Utah. And I believe when they played at UCLA, they scored 54. So if you get up there in the 60 range, that over will hit for you, Ryan. All right, let's get into All-Star Weekend. 3-point champ is tonight. We talked about the field earlier. Mike Gross is going with the hometown kid, Laurie Marketing. Bauer is going with Buddy Hield. He's won it once. Can he win it again? Hudzow went with Tyler Hero. For me, I'm going Dame Time. I think he's been to the 3-point contest. This will be his 3rd time. Anytime that you need a bucket, if he gets in that last round and there's a lot of pressure on him, he will pull through. I love how he's been playing this year. I don't like how he's still with the Blazers. I'd love to see him on a different team, win a championship, but obviously you got to stay tied to where you were originally, which I understand with the Blazers. I'm going Damian Lillard. Ryan, who are you going with in the 3-point contest?
Give me Jason Tatum. I think he has that star power that you mentioned with Damian Lillard. And just every time I seem to watch the Celtics, whether I bet against him, bet for them, it doesn't matter. Tatum is always knocking down 3-pointers, and it ends up coming back to bite me. So this time I'm going to take Tatum, and I hope it doesn't come back and bite me.
Okay, Jason Tatum. Ryan's going with Jason Tatum. I can't knock you on that pick. It's a great pick as well. It'll be his 2nd 30-point contest. He was in it last year. Lastly, the slam dunk champ. Please to God, I pray for a good slam dunk contest. I think when people do too much, it's not a good contest to watch. Let's make some good dunks, show a lot of power. We got Kenyon Martin Jr. is the pick for Mike Gross. Mac McClung is the pick for Bauer. And for me, I'm going Mac McClung. I mean, he's the same age as me. I've been watching this kid ever since high school. You've seen Ball His Life. You keep seeing all these mixtapes of him. He shows a lot of power. And I think the biggest key for him is creativity, but making the dunks on the first time and showing a lot of power, because that brings the audience and the crowd in. Overall environment goes crazy. I love Mac McClung in this. And Ryan, who do you like in the slam dunk contest tonight?
I'm kind of following with you. I'm going McClung as well because I'm the same age as you, Jackson, and we pretty much grew up with him. We watched his highlights all over social media because social media was just gaining traction then, and he was the big face of basketball in high school when I was in high school. So I'm going to have to go with him, and hopefully ends up putting on a show because you did mention he has to score on the first dunk, and I'm sure he's going to try something spectacular. So if he does make it on the first dunk, he's going to win.
100%. I'm a big props guy, too. I love seeing when people bring out props. You know, we've seen Gerald Green bring out the cupcake and blow out the candle. We saw Pat Connaughton a couple of years ago bring out Giannis, jump over Giannis. I love all the creativity. I'm excited to see that tonight for the slam dunk contest. Just going over the lines for that, plus 100, Mac McClung. Plus 250 is Kenyon Martin Jr. and Jericho Sims. And then plus 320 is Trey Murphy III, who I almost picked. He's got a lot of balance for the Pelicans. Don't be surprised if he slips in there as well. And then tomorrow, you guys can bet on the All-Star Game MVP here at the CAZ Sports Bar. That game will tip off at 5:30 on TNT. LeBron James is the favorite. We'll see if him and LeBron James or Giannis, which I find fascinating too, is they're about to pick those squads right before the game, and Vegas has a line for that too.
1 minute.
What a show we had for you guys today. We talked hoops, talked Cardinals, talked Suns. Thanks to Gerald Bourguet and Alex Clancy for coming on. I love talking to them. That was the first time I've ever talked to them. We had a great discussion, great breakdowns from them. Marco D'Angelo, as always, Jeff Hudzow, and of course, Ryan Stark in the back, our national champion, taking down and running the fort over there in the iHeartRadio studio. And he's making me look good with the sounds he put in, with the music. Ryan, we appreciate you always as well. Well, I'm Jackson Groff. We will have the crew here next Saturday on Take the Points, so be sure to tune in every Saturday. Take the Points on Fox Sports 910. See ya, and have a good rest of your weekend.
All clear.